and welcome to the absolutely gorgeous Lyn Smith, who was put in contact with me with a close friend a little while ago. She's all the way over in sunny Spain, and she's here with us today to talk about twin flames and also share some of her experiences and her expertise. She is a love, dating and relationship expert, and I can't wait to dive into this conversation with her to learn more about twin flames and more about Lyn, and what she has to share and what her mission and vision is for the world. So if you just want to start by introducing yourself, like who you are, who you serve, and yeah, anything else that you think people should know.
Thank you very much, Tabitha. I really am very happy to be here, and thank you for your audience for listening in. Yeah, I'm a love, dating and relationship expert, and it's been quite a huge, humongous journey for me over many decades, I have to say. But I always feel like, quite often you can look back at your life and realize why you went through what you went through and start connecting the dots and realize, this is my calling. And I've just felt, that this is now my calling, and I'm here to, make a global impact in reducing divorce, domestic violence, so suicide and self-harm, because I do feel those things all come on the back of poor and toxic relationships.
Yeah, absolutely. Crikey, I think we could do a whole session just on that. And today, I know, like when we were talking before, you asked me about what I knew about twin flames, and to be quite honest, apart from what the little I've read on the internet, I know very little. I think that's why I'm so excited about talking to you, because I don't have much knowledge, and I think it's more and more people are coining that phrase and talking about it. And I suppose what I would love to know is, what is a twin flame, and how does that, I mean, not necessarily answer all in one go, but then how that might differentiate between a soul partner, or a soul connection, and I suppose maybe what to look out for, whether it's destined in this lifetime or if it's not, or I want to know. So I'd love you to share, just starting with, what is a twin flame?
Okay, yeah, so it's a huge question in itself.
I know.
What is a twin flame? I think everybody knows, that we all have relationships, whether they're romantic relationships or not, to grow us. I feel especially those that are more spiritually aware and on that personal development journey know that, we're all here to be the best versions of ourselves, and to gain more growth and awareness. And so each relationship we have, whether, as I say, that's romantic or not, is destined to grow us. So ordinary relationships, are quite often referred to, if they're not meant to be your soul connection type relationship, they're often referred to as karmic relationships. And karmic can also relate to situations and circumstances and people that might not be romantic partners. So, if for example, you've got a strong religious background and you meet your twin flame, and I'll explain more about twin flames in a minute, but your religious background is preventing you from connecting with them because your family is very against that, that would be a karmic situation or karmic people that are getting in the way. And similarly, if you're in a marriage or a long-term relationship and you meet your twin flame, you could then identify the person that you're married to or in a long-term relationship as your karmic partner, in that situation. So I think, when you hear the term karmic, as I say, that can relate to either people or situations, or even somebody's mindset, that anything that might be getting in the way of you actually being able to be with your twin flame. And twin flames, from what I gained on my journey and what has become to the fore in my awareness, is that it is a soulmate connection, but a twin flame is actually somebody who is, or people that share one soul that's been split into two, hence the twin So in ordinary soulmate relationships, that hasn't been the case. You know, you've met your soulmate, but you're not necessarily sharing one soul. But in a twin flame connection, you are sharing one soul, and typically one soul then is on the journey of embodying the more dominant feminine energy, and the other soul typically is embodying more dominantly the masculine energy. And that's not down to gender. It just, you know, it can be in same-sex relationships, that's the case, as well as opposite sex relationships.
Cool. So what I'm just really curious, and you may not know the answer, because some of these things, when we get really deep spiritually, you don't always know the answers, or, well, none of us really know the answer to anything, but from the evidence we see and what we know and experience, I suppose I'll be thinking, well, how would you know if you were a twin flame? Because if you're a twin flame, you know that there is another half of your soul somewhere. And I'm guessing not everybody is, or what
No, not everybody is.
That, or yes, I'm like, what? Like, my mind's going crazy. I'm like, what is that?
Yeah, so I suppose the difference then between a soulmate relationship and a twin flame relationship is, you know, you're not part of the same soul that's divided prior to you coming into your humanness, if you like, on this earthly plane. But, you know, a soulmate relationship can be just as powerful as a twin flame relationship. It's just that, you know, usually a twin flame relationship is, as I say, is one that where your soul connection is entwined.
Yeah.
And you're here to do a bigger job. So in other words, you know, your relationship is divinely guided, whether you're from a religious background or not. You know, you don't need to be a religious person to believe in this or trust that this is the case. I'm certainly not, you know, but I'm a spiritual person and believe in the higher power, and, you know, the power within myself is all interconnected. So for me, you know, I think, you know, within yourself, if you've met your twin flame, it's like a knowing, an inner knowing that you've got a twin flame, and you might not have necessarily met them yet. You know, there are people that I know within the community that know that they're a twin flame, but not necessarily met their other counterpart yet. But they know they're here to do a bigger job, you know, on a world or global level, and they know they're on that journey, you know, to eventually connect with their twin flame to complete some sort of mission that was a contract that you made with your twin flame before you was even born. So it's a journey towards that, first of all, union with yourself, so being happy and feeling complete in your own life and body to start with, but then a subsequent journey of union with your twin flame to then, as I say, not only on your own path be of service to the world, but jointly, you know, be a power couple basically of what you're going to do as part of your joint mission.
That's really interesting. So what I'm hearing is, obviously you obviously believe the same as me. Not that I've ever checked that out with you, but I believe that I believe in reincarnation, and the fact that, you know, we do have a bit of a blueprint of things, and, you know, we come back onto the earth plane, and it's part of our growth, our spiritual growth. So that split, that soul split happens. Is that kind of it? Like, you could reincarnate once and be a twin flame, like split, but then on another reincarnation you might not? Or, I mean, what's your understanding of whether it's a cycle? Or
I think it is a cycle. From my understanding, there's a huge cycle of twin flames now coming into union between 2020 and 2024. It's supposed to be like the, you know, the new age of Aquarius, so to speak, where twin flames are, during this next 4-year cycle, are going to be coming into union from all 4 corners of the globe, and actually, you know, being the spiritual leaders of the world for how to live a more empowered life, where you are living, you know, being the best versions of yourself, and be helping people heal towards becoming that for themselves as well.
Yeah. So, I mean, I mean, I know you're not going to know this answer, but it's just the question that comes into my mind is, you know, if you think about everyone who's reincarnating and that kind of evolution and progression in life, you know, I suppose it sounds like it's all about the bigger mission. That, like, how would you know if you had a twin flame? Like, how would you know? Would it just be instinctive, or would you just not necessarily know, and it might not be this lifetime?
I think it's just an inner knowing and feeling. I felt, you know, funny enough, before I was even aware of this concept, I grew up thinking I had a twin, but I didn't necessarily think of it in the context of having a male twin.
Right.
I knew I didn't have a female twin, but it was like, you know, because I was pretty sure my mum hadn't given my twin sister up for adoption or anything like that. So, but I just couldn't get, you know, rid of this niggle in my mind that, you know, somewhere out there was somebody connected to me who was, and the label twin kept coming up, but it didn't make sense to me at that, you know, in those times, because I didn't have this awareness. And then you know, when I've looked back, like I say, over my whole journey, it seems to be, you know, literally leading up to the moment where, you know, I'm destined to sort of have union with my twin flame. And within the twin flame community, whether you're in union or not with your twin flame, if you're the feminine energy, you're referred to as the divine feminine. And if you're the masculine energy, you're referred to as divine masculine. And as I say, that's not gender specific.
Yeah.
You know, but for opposite sex relationships, obviously, it usually is that if you're the divine feminine, you are the woman, and if you're the divine masculine, you are the man.
Yeah, that makes sense. So have you met your twin flame yet, do you believe?
Yes. Yes, I do believe I have.
So
that we're not
karmic,
in.
there's something in the way.
There's something in the way. Yeah, there is something in the way at the moment. So I'll just leave it at that at the moment.
That's fine.
But, yeah. There is something in the way.
Yeah,
you know, preventing our union. But yeah, at the moment, and the reason that happens is because as part of your own spiritual journey, you're meant to be, you know, whilst you're in separation, becoming your best self, and not only in terms of your own mental well-being, but also financially independent. So if you've previously been in codependent relationships in your past or had toxic relationships, you know, it's healing all of that. And you might feel like you're ready to sort of be in union, especially the feminines feel quite often that, oh yeah, I'm ready. But quite often when you speak to those, you know, divine feminines who are in union, they'd say, you know, I went through that and I realized I wasn't, you know, I still had work to do. So whilst you're in that situation where you are in separation, it's you know, it's, and have to trust that it is divinely guided, and you still got your own work to do as well as he's got his work to do. And you wouldn't want him to show up being, you know, somebody that's not going to be in his best version ready for you either. So you know that it's either you've still got work to do, or he's got work to do, to so you can both meet on that same energetic level.
Yeah, no, I get that. So what would you say to people who would you say that if you haven't had that inkling, or if you've never thought like that you're probably not? Or could you just not know?
You might not know. You know, there might just come a time where you start to become aware. And then I feel that, you know, we're always being divinely guided. As I say, I'm not from any religious education or doctrines, you know, but I am a very spiritual person. So, you know, I did feel like I was guided to, you know, get more information from people that were already aware or were already in union themselves. And then it started to make sense. You know, before that, you're sort of living in a bit of confusion, and you're thinking, well, why are these things happening? Even the COVID has obviously massively prevented a lot of twin flames from coming into union, because there might be a country involved that's the karmic situation.
Yeah, 100%. Well, so you need to be a country with lockdown. It could be a town.
Exactly, you know, so it doesn't necessarily, and you know, the people that can be stopping it, as I say, can be stopping it through religious reasons, you know, or family reasons, or they might be involved in another long-term relationship or marriage, you know, so there's people that can be involved, or there might be a boss even that could be involved, work situation, or a business that might be involved that might be preventing you getting into union, or, as I say, even their own mindset, because usually the divine feminines are the ones that are shining the light. They're more spiritually aware initially, and then they become the lighthouse, I suppose, for the magnet for the masculines to do their work and get in alignment to actually work towards that union with them.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. It is really fascinating. I remember reading about it. I had a friend and client who believed she'd met her twin flame, and that's probably the first time I really heard about it. So I did my reading, and it did talk about how often twin flame relationships are quite turbulent, and there's often issues, and how you may not even be together in this lifetime. And I was like, oh, this just sounds really, it almost sounded like it was there really for your own personal growth.
Yeah, initially, you know, it is about, you know, being a catalyst for your own leveling up, you know, because we're all energetically vibrating, aren't we, on certain frequencies. So, you know, once you become more and more spiritually aware, it is about, you know, becoming more conscious around what that is and what you still need to work on, and actually 100% knowing deep inside you that that relationship is meant to be. And obviously you have your doubts sometimes, because, you know, the longer time goes on, when the longer the separation is between you, and there could be a couple of, you know, multiple separations. It literally can be a relationship where there can be a lot of on and offs within that relationship, and that's because usually women generally, if you're the feminine energy, are more able to access communities and more likely to access help and support, and more likely to want to do that, whereas the masculines, you know, they very much need to go away and process it in their own caves and work it all out for themselves. So it usually takes them, you know, a while and longer to process all this, because they're not naturally because they're not because we're different, aren't we? Men and women are different, mentally, not, and physically, obviously, and emotionally. So there's different ways that the two energies process things and work things out. And I suppose in some respects it's a bit easier for the women, because they usually access communities online, and women are more likely to share, aren't they, and reach out for self-help, whereas the men traditionally and generally, you know, they're more autocratic and more likely to, you know, be quite scared, especially by the intensity, because it's in a very intense relationship. It's, you know, you have passion without it being a twin flame relationship, but it's a relationship that can feel very intense, and quite often it scares the masculine, you know, and that's why they run, because of the intensity of it, and they've never felt anything like it before, and that's what they usually need to go away and heal.
That is really interesting. My mind's going. Yeah, no, that is really fascinating, and you're right. I mean, you know, masculine energy is modal, feminine's diffuse. You know, women, it's about, we're driven to connect, so we're going to do that. So that makes complete sense. Whereas men, it's, you know, it's more about driven to win, and they're more independent anyway, as energetically. So what kind of advice, or if women wanted to find out more about, you know, if they've got an interest in it, or if they think they are a twin flame, or even if they think they might be in a twin flame union and they want more information, or they want to understand more, like, where would you signpost them, or how would they maybe get in contact with you?
Yeah, I'm on Facebook. It's under Lyn Life Coach. Lyn spelt with just one N. Is my Facebook connection, and certainly, you know, if anybody wants to reach out and find out more information, I'm happy first and foremost to connect with you, and yeah, see where it leads in terms of any future conversations around any questions people might have.
And what would be kind of your advice around twin flames, or your top tips, or just, you know, to just support someone might be more in the beginning of their understanding around this, or even if they are, you know, they totally get this and they're.
I think it's just educating us to come from a place of love, not fear. You know, this is what we're learning on the journey, you know, to embrace it all, surrender to it all, especially as the feminine, and let go of the need to have it now. When, you know, talk about the P word, patience in all of this, you know, if you really feel in your heart and know in your heart that, you know, that your counterpart is your divine masculine and twin flame, then you know, and there's people obviously that are around you that probably wouldn't understand that, or might poo-poo it. So you have to be careful, I suppose, around who you speak to. But you know it, if you feel and know it in your heart, then trust that, because this journey is all about healing any fears, doubts, and worries, and just trusting, you know, that everything's going to work out, because love conquers all.
Yeah, what a great thing to say. Yeah, I don't feel like I have any more questions, but it's just more about if there's anything else I should know. Like, I feel like I'm in that I don't know what I don't know, so I don't know what to ask other than what it is, and how would I know if I, you know, was a twin flame. Is there any other sort of parting words or wisdom or anything that you can give us?
There usually is quite a lot of universal signs and synchronicities. You know, you can do sort of like tests. Like for me, you know, I was asking my guides or spirit, or whatever you want to refer to, you know, whatever you connect with as regards any higher power or source, for you know, confirmation. And for me, it's got to be something that's quite unusual. So for me, you know, I wanted the confirmation that I was in a twin flame relationship, and I asked that I'd see a pink car, because pink cars are quite rare, aren't they? And you know, it's usually a 72-hour test, and this is just one of many tests and signs and synchronicities that can come up. But you know, I literally did see a pink car. Wow.
Like, what?
Yeah, it was like, okay. So, you know, because obviously sometimes you do start to doubt yourself and start to think, well, am I just living in a dream world, or, you know, am I just making all this up in my head? And, you know, am I being stupid for even thinking that, you know, that this concept is real? But, you know, the more you get sort of delve into it and the more confirmations you get, you think, yeah, it is, you know, because, but even then you still sort of think, well, why isn't it happening now? You know, I want it now. And so you have to sort of then let go of the ego and realize that, you know, everything's in divine timing and it's all been orchestrated, and let go, surrender, trust. And it's just, you know, having that faith and belief that, yeah, you know, the universe has got this, and they've got you.
Yeah, life's working for you.
Yes. Yeah, and as I say, you can sort of then, as I say, delve more into signs and synchronicities. There's number sequences and signs and symbols that are relevant, that you keep seeing and realizing that's just another confirmation that, you know, you're on the right path and you're not going mad.
Yeah, I think, yeah, synchronicity is it's like everything, isn't it? The more you notice it, the more you notice it, and like the more that it comes. And I, even though I have experienced synchronicity, and when you do the energy work, how quickly things shift, even though I know it all and I've experienced it, I still get surprised when things happen. I'm still like, oh my God, that's so weird that's come up again, or that's happened, and you go, wow, it like blows your mind. Even though you know it, it still is.
Yeah, absolutely
amazing. It still is. It still feels like a miracle, like mini miracles all the time.
Absolutely, and the more you sort of believe in manifesting miracles, the more they keep happening, and the more you keep being surprised every time.
Yeah, it's like you believe it, you know it, and then it happens, and then you go, wow, it's
amazing. Yeah,
it's cool. Yeah, I just want to say a massive thank you, unless you have anything else to add, and we can kind of wrap this up. because I'm excited to obviously speak again, because you have a whole nother area that I am excited, which will be a little bit more about you and your life story and what you do with, is it just women you work with or men as well?
I do work with some men, but it is mainly women, because like we spoke about before, it is that feminine energy that's more like to reach out for self-help. And just by helping women change the way they think and behave, you can obviously have a positive knock-on effect to, you know, any future relationship or current relationship that they're in terms of making an impact on their partner as well.
Absolutely. I do believe in, you know, I talk about this with clients and women, is that we're so powerful. I mean, men are as well, and it's not, there's no one's better than the other, but I think when women really get into their feminine and allow men to be into them in their masculine, it just, I think the changes can happen without men even sometimes realizing it, which is
100%,
which is just amazing.
Yes. It's a case of helping women to change, and then on the back of that, their men being inspired to change, and them thinking it's all their own idea, which is great.
Yeah, definitely.
Win-win for everybody.
Exactly, win-win for everyone. Yeah, no, it's been awesome chatting to you and understanding more about Twin Flames and how it works, and where obviously to reach out, and if anyone wants to connect with you and to just find you on Facebook, and yeah, message you if they want more information or they want to connect or anything you said, really. Yeah, fantastic. And I will close it there. Is there any parting words you want to share before we close this this, I don't know what you call it, interview, chat, conversation?
Yeah, I say just trust your own intuition, you know, really trust in that and your own inner knowing, because, you know, people that educate around this are not telling you anything you don't already know within your own self. We're just confirmation of what you already know.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Well, thank you so much. I'm just going to end the recording there, and we'll be seeing you again very soon.
Thank you for having me.